guys having fun? That was lame. You guys having fun? Good. Awesome. So we're gonna have fun now. Not that we weren't, but we're gonna have lots of fun because we're gonna talk about the future of media, which is a topic near and dear to my heart. And it's a real honor that we're joined by, in my opinion, one of the icons of American media, and his history running AOL, now Clear Channel, Time Warner, and founding MTV makes him one of a kind. Please welcome Bob Pittman. Welcome. Okay. I want to get right into it. And I want to start with MTV, which I think is the coolest thing in the world that you founded. So tell us about how it all started.
Well, MTV was one of those ideas that I hate to say it, but a lot of people thought of video music and what you do with video music, channels, or it's got to be something. We were more the Henry Ford. We figured out how to make a channel out of it and how to make a successful channel. And that was 1981. The world was the record industry was going through sort of a downturn. First time it was bleeding red ink for a while. And they needed something new. And for us, it was the first time music and television had come together for this generation that had grown up with rock music and grown up with TV. And they could see TV a different way. My parents looked at TV really as an extension of printed word. They still were very word-based. We were the first generation that came along that was really about mood, emotion, attitude, and that was MTV.
From the inside of MTV, what was the moment when you knew that you had created something huge?
Boy, that's a tough one. Everybody talks about Michael Jackson and Thriller, but it actually may have been Flashdance, where the Goober Peters had this movie. They said it was a terrible movie. They didn't know what to do with it, and they were watching MTV, and they go, wait a minute, let's just cut it up like a music video. And they did it. They put a soundtrack, and they saved the movie and had a hit. So that was the moment which we say, wait a minute, we've changed another form.
Yeah.
And I think that was really the important thing. Also, we changed graphic design. That was not the way you were doing graphic design. Everybody did Star Wars logos back then, and we didn't have enough money for one. So there was a guy named Fred Seibert who did the on-air look, and we were sort of noodling around what to do, and I was sort of thinking cheap Star Wars look. And Fred said, wait a minute, if we do something completely different, it won't look cheap, it'll just look different. And that's the way the whole MTV iconography emerged.
I think when I gave your bio, I left out some colossal names. You ran Century 21, and you also ran Six Flags. Let's talk about Six Flags, which is about entertainment and media. What one thing do you think epitomized your oversight of the company in terms of bringing it forward to the current generation?
Well, what we did was we turned it into a national brand. They thought there were 7 regional parks. I thought they were a national brand. So we began to think of it as a national brand, market it as a national brand, and treat it that way. The other thing was really we moved it from being operationally based to consumer based. And I'll just give you an example. We couldn't get the customer service up. And if you go to Disney, they're very consumer friendly. And Six Flags, they were sort of surly to you. And so one day I just said, the hell with it, I'm going in the park. And I put on the janitor's outfit with the little shorts and the hat and the whole thing.
Way ahead of your time on Undercover Bus.
I said, I'm going to find out what's going on. And what I realized that the surliest people, the people who cleaned the park, actually loved Six Flags. And it was really my epiphany moment there. And then I realized the reason they hated the guest was because we had told them their job was to keep the park clean. Who makes the park dirty? Guests. They hate the guests. So we go, wait a minute. I go, duh.
So basic.
And then I go, wait a minute. Our goal really, you're not supposed to keep the park clean. Everybody here's supposed to make sure the guest has one of the best days of their lives. And what could ruin that great day is the park being dirty. So what you're really doing is you're making sure the guest has the greatest day of their life. So then when somebody said, can you tell me where the bathroom is? And going, they go, oh yeah, it's right over here, let me show you. Because they really were enthusiastic about Six Flags. We just had to redefine their job. And actually, I looked at our handbook and it said our number one concern is safety. And I go, no, it's not. Our number one concern is our customer. We're only interested in safety because it's important to our customer. And actually at Six Flags, I learned a lot about customer service, which I've tried to apply to every other business, including the digital businesses that have come after that.
Which I want to get to. Well, actually, let's go right into that. So AOL, you were there from the beginning.
Not the beginning.
Almost the beginning.
Almost the beginning. I was on the board. I actually was at Century 21 Real Estate. I knew nothing about real estate. I made an investment in the company. They said, hey, come run this thing and fix it up. And so I said, it seems like this online thing's happening. Who's a winner? It looks like AOL is. That guy, Steve Case, I need to go meet him. Call him up, said, I want to come see you, have lunch with him.
That's a valuable phone call to me.
And Ted Leonsis, who was with him. And I said, look, I want to be your real estate, blah, blah, blah. He said, okay, we'll do that. And he said, as we were leaving, he said, would you be on my board? And I go, that might be sort of fun.
Good board.
So I went on the board, and after a year, the company was going through some trials and tribulations, and Steve and the board asked me to come down and help out. And I said, I'm going to come for 1 year. I'm only going to come for a couple of days a week. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I stayed 7 years. I bought a house immediately, and I think never went back to New York.
And you stayed after the merger with Time Warner and ended up being the COO of an enormously large company. What, looking back, did you see in the late 90s, early 2000s at AOL, I guess it was late 90s, that might have given you a hint about where we are on the internet today? Was there?
Well, it's interesting. What I found at AOL was what I found everywhere since I've been involved in consumer-facing businesses, which is the consumer buys brands and convenience is king. And if you can do anything in someone's life and make it more convenient, you will have the winning product. And if you look at everything on the internet, mobile phones, everything, it's all about the most convenient wins, not the best quality. The microwave oven doesn't cook better than a conventional oven, but it's a lot more convenient. And here's two TVs, free TV or TV that costs $150 a month. Which one do you want? Everybody wants a $150 a month TV. Why? Has more choices, so it's more convenient. And people will spend money for convenience. They will abandon what is better for what's more convenient. I mean, by the way, what is it? 40% of the U.S. households don't have a wire line anymore. I'm on that mobile phone. I can't even understand who it is on the other end often. My calls drop 2 or 3 times while I'm going across town in Manhattan, but it's a lot more convenient.
Yeah. Although I did hear that there's still people who put that AOL disk in their computers and run over a phone line.
Yeah,
they just don't. I don't know where they live.
I don't know.
But they don't live in Chicago.
You don't know?
Yeah, that's true.
Suburbs.
You never know. Let's go into to Clear Channel. So, for those who don't know, Clear Channel, as a media company, has, I think, the broadest reach of any media company in our country. Radio and TV and outdoor. And am I missing any channels?
No TV. Radio alone reaches 243 million people, just our broadcast radio. Digital's about 60 million, outdoor's about 145 million, traffic network's about 175 million.
So when you stepped into the role of CEO, all the numbers of terrestrial radio would lead one to question the future, maybe. And the numbers of subscription radio and Pandora would lead you to sort of just say, how relevant is FM radio? Talk about what you saw when you joined the company, because your consumer-facing appetite clearly was at play.
Well, look, everything I do is about consumers, and that's what I care most about. And actually, they called me, and a friend of mine who is at one of the investment companies, Rich Bressler, said, we need a CEO. Would you be interested in being the CEO of Clear Channel? I go, are you crazy? I gave that up long ago. I'm off the heroin. I'm having a great time. I got a wonderful life. And he said, do me a favor, just look at the company. As a heroin addict, that's a terrible mistake to taste a little bit of heroin again. I looked at the company and go, holy smokes. I mean, like you, I said, I thought radio was dying. Your trends are unbelievable. The listenership of radio hasn't gone down at all. As a matter of fact, there are more listeners now than there have ever been. And this digital stuff is actually in addition to broadcast. I mean, this is a stunning information, and no one knows that. And by the way, your advertising looks terrible. You're doing a terrible job of selling what you have and monetizing it.
Right.
But as I sort of looked into it, I said, wow, this is the easy job. The easy job is where the product's great and you're not monetizing it well, as opposed to, you're monetizing well, and you got to invent a new product to grow.
Right.
So that to me was the exciting thing, and what I think is so wonderful about digital is that it's an opportunity to expand your relationship with the consumer.
Digital radio.
Digital radio. The truth is they love their favorite radio stations. Whatever your favorite radio stations, you love it. Whoever that personality is in the morning that you go to work with is your friend, and you're locked with them. By the way, if we fire them, you have the reaction of a breakup. This real sort of emotional reaction. So we've got this very powerful franchises, and the key for us was stop thinking about radio as the tower and transmitter. The radio's the product people love. They don't really care where they get it. Do I care in this mobile device I'm carrying, whether it's an FM chip or whether it's streaming over the internet? As long as I get my favorite radio station, GCI or whatever,
right,
it's still there. And that to me is great because there are places you couldn't get to an FM radio, although there are 1 billion of them in the United States.
FM radios.
FM radios. We talk about, phone, wow, 160 million. Right. There are places where you can't get to one, but you can get to your phone.
But what you did that fascinates me and I think has worked wonderfully well is create a brand within the brands. And iHeartRadio is something that people now recognize, and that was started.
It was interesting. One of the people from the big consumer package companies, I was talking to her and said, within the first year, we had our brand awareness over 50%. She said, that's almost impossible.
Right.
And I go, we basically gave it $1 billion of advertising. If I give any product $1 billion of advertising, you will know it. She goes, you're right.
Right.
And now it's up about 65, 70%. And so
what does it say about us, by the way, that $1 billion?
I know. That's crazy, isn't it? And what's great about our company is we have this massive reach. Now, you actually have to promote a product people want that's a good product, but there are many good products that people don't know about. So the ability to build products and put the content in them and then promote them is sort of one-stop shopping. And as we go talk to partners like Facebook and Twitter and folks like that, what's attractive about us as a partner is not only can we provide something to them, we can promote it.
Right.
When we did the iHeartRadio Music Festival, we're going to launch the app. And I said, look, we don't want to do a startup thing. What can we do that's sort of a scale no one can imagine? And the last big concert I'd done was Live Aid. Said, let's do Live Aid again, collaboration of all these big acts.
You were part of making it happen.
Which one?
Live Aid.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was MTV, and Live Aid was our big deal with Bob Geldof. And when I told the board of directors, I said, we're going to launch it with this festival and this concert in Las Vegas. And one of our board members is very knowledgeable, says, Bob, don't do it in September. And I go, why? He said, September's a dead month in Vegas. Nobody's there. And then you can't fill up the arena. And I go, well, they'll come. We'll promote it, and they'll fly to Vegas. He said, no one flies to Vegas for music shows. I go, God, I got bad news. We're going to do 2 nights. And we sold out in 10 minutes. It worked, but we defied the rules of how it's supposed to happen.
Right.
But again, we've done sort of time after time, we've done these bigger than life things and things that no one else is really doing. But that's sort of part of the imagery and identity of iHeartRadio.
You've been around some really iconic and incredible people in your life, and I'm curious when...
And some that aren't, who we'll forget about. That's
exactly.
Like the bad people.
When you think about people who... Because your managerial and foresight skills really impress me. Who impresses you that you've been around? Because you've been around artists and executives and all kinds of different personalities over the years. Who really inspires you?
Well, there are a lot of people who have inspired me and still inspire me. We have guys I work with today like Ryan Seacrest, who's the hardest working man. I don't know how he finds time to do everything, and really has his hands in many things. And there were guys like Steve Ross, who was really my great mentor, who started with his father-in-law's 2 funeral homes, right, and turned it into Warner Communications and then Time Warner, and was one of the big problems with cable networks, not just MTV, was no advertiser-supported cable network had ever been profitable. So when MTV finally was profitable, and I saw we were going to be profitable, we were the first one, sort of the breakout of the pack. We proved the category. I go to Steve Ross and say, Steve, I need to come see you. And I go, I have great news for you, because they almost shut us down a few times. They used words like a sieve.
MTV.
Yeah, MTV, like a sieve, you're losing all this money. So I tell Steve, we're going to be profitable. Instead of saying, that's great, Bob, congratulations, which is sort of what I expected, he said, oh, good, here's what we can do now. So he merely viewed one success as a stepping stone to do something else and something else and something else. And I think if you look today at Google, you look even at Facebook, et cetera, what you're finding are companies that are growing and growing. Facebook really interests me because they jumped into Instagram. The people, why would they spend all the money on Instagram? Last year at the iHeartRadio Music Festival, we had 1 billion social impressions. Extraordinary number. This year we had 2.3 billion.
In how many days?
Well, over just the period of the iHeartRadio Music.
Right.
But what was interesting was a year ago, Instagram accounted for 3% of those social impressions. This year, 25%.
Wow.
So you go, wow, Facebook has found the competitor to Twitter. It's interesting, these sort of movements. And Google, which when I was at AOL, we made Google our search engine, which is probably a pivotal moment for Google to give them that traffic to make them Google. But they didn't stop there. They continue. They're always iterating and adding and changing. And I think that's the brilliance of any great entrepreneur.